Good afternoon. It is once again Friday, 5:30 in the p.m. And of course, this is your host, U.S. Representative Danny Kenyatta Davis, for the next 25 minutes of Hotline 21, the most interactive television show that you will come into contact with. Let me tell you, we are celebrating Black History Month. And what does it really mean? Black. You know, out of the night that covers me, black is the pit from pole to pole. I think what gods there may be for my unconquerable soul. In the frail clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is blooded but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how strait the gate, how charged with punishment the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Let me tell you, poetry, literature, Langston Hughes, Conti Cullen, hold fast to your dreams, Langston Hughes used to say. For if dreams die, life becomes as a broken-winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to your dreams and don't let go. If you let go, life becomes as a barren field covered with snow. And so we've had dreamers. Let me tell you, much of Langston Hughes' work was focused around dreams, possibility, change from yesterday into tomorrow. And I think it's so sad that so many of our young people don't get an opportunity to, be aware of that. James Weldon Johnson, lift every voice and sing. But he had other stuff that he wrote too. God stepped out on space, and he looked all around. And as far as the eyes of God could see, darkness covered everything. Blacker than 100 midnights down in a cypress swamp. Then God smiled, and the darkness rolled up on one side, and the light stood shining on the other. And God said, "That is good." Then God walked, and where he trod, his footsteps hollowed out the valleys, and the mountains bulged up. And God said, "That is good." This great God. He looked at all that he had made, and so he saw that the earth was flat and barren. And so God stepped to the edge of the world and spat out the 7 seas. He batted his eyes and the lightning flashed, clapped his hands and the thunder rolled. And yes, the waters came down. The cooling waters came down. Oh my goodness. The creativity of some of these people, the imagination, all of those things that have made our world the world that it is. We didn't do much in Washington this week. We didn't do much because, well, we don't set the schedule. The majority always sets the schedule. The minority follows the schedule. Wouldn't you rather be in the majority? You know, I'm told that there are two kind of people in the world. There are those who shape and mold society. And then there are those who are shaped and molded by society. Now let me ask you, would you rather be a molder or a moldee? Because if you are a molder, then you can shape and mold. If you are a moldee, then you are shaped and molded. Well, let's intervene. We've got a caller on the line. And let's see what our caller got to say. Caller, are you there?
Yeah, hello.
Yes, go right ahead.
Yes, I am. I am very happy that I'm able to speak to you, Congressman. I have always been one of the backers of you and the things that you've done on the West Side.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
But that I wanted to ask you a question. Years ago, they had said that when Jane Dickens, she was the supervisor of the park.
Oh, I remember her well. Oh, she was a track star in
Yes,
her
she
young
was.
day.
Yes, she was, and then
She
she had a lot.
was indeed.
And
Please go right ahead.
what we like to do, and then back in the day, they had said you always said that you were going to get a street name for Jane Dickens on the West Side. A lot of young women and men are college graduates and intelligent people because of her work with them on the West Side, and they've never come to that conclusion to make sure that she has that street that's named after her. And I worked with her a lot at Columbus Park when she was the supervisor of Columbus Park.
Yes, ma'am.
And usually when they started to switch that neighborhoods from white to black, they moved her along to the next park so that they could get along with people in that area, which were both black and white. And back in that day, it was when you became your congressman, it was quite a bit of problem. I can remember there was a place on the west side we used to eat breakfast all the time. And I think it was Ethel's.
And unfortunately, most of those restaurants are closed.
Yes,
I used to eat at Clark's restaurant on Chicago Avenue near Laramie.
yes.
I used to eat at Edna's
Edna was the one that I'm talking about.
on
That's where I
Madison
used to go.
Street. They're closed. I used to go to Pine Valley on 16th Street. They closed, but I understand that the gentleman's daughter has opened up a new restaurant, and it's named Pine Valley. Mr. Flowers, I believe, was the gentleman, and I think his daughter. Marvin's is closed. Alice's is closed. All of those establishments mostly are closed. But let me tell you how I think we can get this work done for Miss Jane Dickens. Would you call me at my office at 773-533-7520 so we can get a movement started? I'm going to
Would
be
you?
there all of this week coming up because we have something called district work days this week. And I
Give me that
understand
number
that they're
again.
not naming as many honorary streets as they used to because I just talked to the alderman of the 29th Ward about naming a street Mr. Coleman, Henry Coleman, who owned the Coleman's Barbecue. He passed away a few years ago, and his family is trying to get a street named after him. And I support it, so I talked to Alderman Talaferro the other day, and he was telling me that I think they're going to make it where each ward can only get about 2 of those over a certain period of time. And you got to have a fair amount of lobbying, and you got to show that the person is really worthy. But call me and let's get together, and we'll get together some people
Could you
who.
give me that number again, sir?
It is 773-533-7520.
All
And I
right.
can tell you that I am firmly in favor the things that I've been able to name because I had the jurisdictional opportunity. I named the post office Milton Bronson Post Office at Laramie and Adams. A lot of people don't call it Milton Bronson. I don't know what they call it. But his name is right there inside the postal facility. There is a photograph of him right inside. It's the Reverend Milton Bronson Post Office. I also named the post office on Division Street after State Representative Robert LaFleur Jr. It is the Robert LaFleur Post Office. I named the post office on Madison Street after Mary Alice Moe Henry. It is the Mary Alice Moe Henry Post Office. I named the main big post office downtown after Congresswoman Cardis Collins. That's the Cardis Collins Post Office. And I named the post office that used to be the Midwest Post Office right there at Monroe and Western. That's the Nancy B. Jefferson's Post Office. So I'm seriously in favor of naming community entities after people who've contributed to the community. So just give me a call and let's get the ball rolling. See if we can't get something named after Miss Jane Dickens that is appropriate for the contribution that she made.
Thank you so very much.
All right, thank
And I
you.
shall do that.
Okay, and we've got another call. Caller, are you there?
Yeah, how you doing, Congressman David?
James, I'm doing fine. How are you?
Okay, like I said once before, you already know about this already. Like I said too many times, they should get their time to God. They shouldn't be going to church because all this nonsense is unnecessary. They should get to life back to their marriage. You already know about all the what happened in Florida. But I ain't gonna say nothing no more, Congressman David. And God got the
Well,
last
what do you
word.
think about it? I think it's a crying shame.
Yep. And okay, now they talk about they get tired of all the violence, and now when they protest, all the protest, that ain't doing no good. Like the celebrity ain't gonna do no good. And I watched Jimmy Kimmel last night, and other people getting tired about it. And I think that's the reason why it keep on happening, because I think the United States been encouraged by the Native Americans, and they vote Donald Trump in. And look what he said, he gonna make America great. Okay, he making America great. Look, we keep on having the country. And like I said once before, the media is part of the problem. The media. And they always talk about the violence. You have too many celebrities talk about they gonna stop all the violence. And everything you hear about more shooting, more violence. And I said they should get their time to God. God got the last word, Colonel Davis. I don't know what to say no more, Colonel Davis.
But let me tell you, there are people who were so angry. Even every time there's that kind of shooting, we always pause for a moment, a silence, or whatever on the floor of the house. And people were saying the other day, yesterday, Look, we're tired of these moments of silence. Don't be silent. Do something. Do something. Don't just be silent, but let's do something.
Again,
And I agree with them. Let's stop being silent. My heart goes out to the police commander who was assassinated, certainly killed by the person that encountered him the other day. And you know, I take the position, my mother gave me my understanding of right and wrong. My mother used to tell us that wrong is wrong if everybody is wrong. That right is right if nobody is right. Right is still right, and wrong is wrong. So I think that, it's so unfortunate that we've just experienced those two incidents on day before yesterday and all. And I pray for America that we can reduce and get rid of some of this violence that's going on.
because this keep on happening every day, they can't blame it on Terry, because the media is probably the problem. They should not be showing something like that on the news.
But if we get rid of these automatic weapons, these guns, semi-automatic and automatic guns, and not let people get them, I think we would reduce the numbers of people who are killed drastically. Thank you so much, James. I got another call.
Okay.
All right, let me go to it and see what our next caller got to say. Caller,
yes,
you
yes,
there?
sir. Yes, sir, Congressman. You're
Yes, sir.
awfully spiffy today. More spiffy than I've ever seen you before. Listen, I'm going to ask you this, because I know you're a true believer in civil rights for all. The artist that did the official portrait for the former president and his wife, Michelle, do you know that he had two separate paintings of African-American people holding severed heads of white people? Now, if that had been reversed, man, there'd have been riots in the street. Why hasn't anybody said a thing about that artist so far? You're the man, because you know civil rights in and out. So I'm asking you, not only as a congressman, but as a man of God, as a man of civil rights, the question that I put to you, that are civil rights for everybody or just for a group of people? And I want Steve to call in and tell me when I went wrong. Thank you for listening, Congressman.
All right. Thank you so very much. I appreciate your call. I want to thank all of our callers because I appreciate every single one of yours in every position that you've got. And I think we may have another caller on the line. And if we do, caller, go right ahead.
Good evening, Congressman Danny Davis. Paula here.
Yes, ma'am.
How you doing this evening, sir? You're looking very nice.
Well, thank you very much. You know, yes, the other day was Valentine's Day, and even though Valentine's Day is past, I'm going to try to,
Yeah, I know you brought some chocolates and flowers home. I know you did for that woman with the hip. There you go. Hey, I like the way you sing those little songs sometimes. I got one for you. How about this one?
All right.
For God's sake, give back the power to the people. But anyhow.
You sound like a revolutionary.
I can be anything I want. I'm a dreamer, just like you and everybody else, Danny Davis.
All right.
Hey, let me specify something about yesterday with all them poor kids getting out there in Florida. Listen. Every single time you hear a shooting, You always had some kind of warning. We got to put the faith in the FBI, but this time I think they really dropped the ball big time down there in Florida. They had so many things on that young man that what he was doing, he damn near told what time he was coming. They still dropped the ball. What I think the problem is when somebody goes in with guns or whatever, they let them out too soon. They too easy on them. They got to find where the pistols are coming from. It don't matter if you have a license. It don't matter if you're registered. If a person wants to get a Magnum PI, a 25 million shooting gun like in Las Vegas, they're going to get it. What you got to do is when you catch them, you got to keep them in there a little bit longer. You got to make the laws a little bit stronger. You walked it around a pistol. They blew away the chief yesterday for an absolutely ungodly, silliest reason in the world, drugs. Drugs and guns, guns and drugs, they both go together. When you got more drugs, you got more guns. All these politicians running for politician coming up here in March, do any of them know what the heck they're going to do? I sure hope so, because we got a city here. We got to put it back together, Mr. Davis. We got to put it back together.
All
Keep
right.
those bad people in. God bless you and your wife. Go home and have a blessed evening.
Thank you so very much. We appreciate your call. We're going to go right to our next caller. Caller, are you there?
Yes, Congressman, and truly, this is a great day. You know, I got a good friend of mine who says sometimes leave things alone, because payback could really be something. And you know what I'm about to talk to. And Ray, I hope you hear this. Who care about, an artist going to say that is art? Nobody say anything when they made a picture of Harold Washington in underwear. So, I mean, female underwear. So that is art. That's what they have the privileges of doing. If it's a severed head, that's what it is, a severed head. But why don't you mention this? Did you see today that this man is now going to find out collusion was there? It's true. When they get through indicting this up, I think the whole family, the whole cabinet, even his friends, everybody going to be in a world of trouble. So now we got a great idea. Maybe we could come up with now that impeachment. Again, I can't believe nothing whatever come out of that man's mouth. And listen, any other listeners, on Showtime they got a cartoon called President Cartoon. Cartoon President. Check it out on demand, Showtime. And you will laugh and you will say, this is exactly what's going on.
All right.
Congressman, I want to thank you so much. Let me get out there because I hope Ray called back.
Thank you so much, and we want to thank you and all of the callers. Let me mention 2 or 3 things before it's time for us to go. One, the West Side Black elected officials are having an event to honor Judge Leonard Murray from 4:30 to 7:30 at Robinson Ribs on February 25th. And there's no cost, no charge, no nothing. He ain't running for nothing, so it's no politicking. It's just honoring a guy who does a great job as a judge. Everybody is welcome to come, and that's at 848 Madison Street, Sunday, February 25th, from 4:30 to 7:30. So don't eat before you come, because Robinson Ribs has some of the best food anywhere. Also, on February the 24th, from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock, the West Side Black elected officials and community organizations are having a State of the West Side in terms of education at Malcolm X College. Again, it's all free, doesn't cost anybody anything, and we're actually going to give people lunch. So that's on the 24th of February. Everybody is welcome. my church, since I'm going to make an announcement about my church that I have membership in, we are going to have a political forum on Monday, February the 19th from 6 to 9. It's the New Galilee Missionary Baptist Church at 431 North Laramie in Chicago. Everybody is welcome to come. I'm not going to suggest that we're going to feed anybody, but we may have some coffee and some water or something, a little something. We fed people last Sunday, so we ain't feeding this Sunday. And then the Character Centenary AME Church is having a revival, and I'm in favor of revivals. People ought to go there. And, it's going to be February the 14th through the 16th. That means it's going on right now. So go there, be a part of it. I ain't got no problem with people being religion. And if you can sing, have you got good religion? Certainly, Lord, certainly, Lord, certainly, Lord. We'll see you next week. Do something good for somebody. And I guarantee you somebody else will do something good for you.